Good evening. I'm Jonathan Chickley. I'm a director and full stack developer at YYT Development Studio, and I'm very excited to be here tonight to speak about a subject I'm quite passionate about: progressive web applications, and especially in the context of e-commerce with Magento 2. So, presentation is built around 3 sections. The first section is about progressive web applications. So we're going to review what is a progressive web application, as well as the main concepts, technical concepts around it. The second section will be about progressive web application and e-commerce, and we're going to review some of the main frameworks currently available to build progressive application with Magento 2. And the next section is a case study. The last section is a case study where we're going to present the architecture of a progressive web app that we built using Magento 2 for the backend. So the first section, what's a progressive web application? Well, there is many ways to define what's a progressive web application, or PWA. An interesting approach is to define it from a user experience point of view. So the way Google define it is according to those 3 criteria, which are reliable, so websites that should load instantly, even under slow network connections. It's fast; it should respond quickly to user interaction. So if you open a native mobile application on a mobile device, you'll see that and let's say you push on a tab or a button on this app, you'll see that you'll switch from one tab to another, or one page to another, without any rendering time. Well, the concept applies here in the context of a website where you should be able to load another page without having this loading time and this rendering time when you load a new page. And then the last element is that it should be engaging and feels like a natural app on your device. This covers many things, and one of the elements of progressive application is the ability for websites to send push notification. The same way you would have push notification on a mobile device, you can send push notification on a website, even if the user browser window is not open. So what are the benefits of PWA? Well, you get a better user experience, a website that works reliably, get more engagement and conversion. So in the context of Magento, it definitely makes sense where we have a checkout that's relatively slow, the website performance that's not necessarily ideal, even with all the caching layers in place. Makes sense to consider this approach. So we'll see further in more details why it's relevant in the case of e-commerce and Magento later slide. And then you get more performance and better ranking in search engines. One of the elements that point toward the fact that Google give a strong weight in their search engine algorithm is that you now have a PWA badge on the Lighthouse Chrome plugins that used to evaluate the performance of a website, or the Google PageSpeed online tool. Next section, the technical requirements. So in order to build a progressive application, there is a lot of technical elements involved, and I try to summarize here the 3 main concepts. The first one is that it needs to run under HTTPS. This is quite usual for us in the world of e-commerce, where most websites need to run under HTTPS because we're processing payments and it's required. However, this concept needs also to be applied with any content website or any website that wants to offer a progressive web experience. It needs to run under HTTPS. Then the next requirement is it needs to have a web app manifest. So we'll see later what a web app manifest is. And the last element is it needs to have a service worker. Those are the 3 main concepts. There is a lot of other elements involved, but But those are the three novelties for us in terms of web development and in the context of progressive web app. So the first element of so HTTPS we already saw that is relatively straightforward. For the manifest, which is a second requirement, basically it's a simple JSON file that contains some information about the website and how it should behave when installed on the browser on the user's device. So this is a quick example. This is all there is to a manifest JSON file. It's just this file. It's that you provide to the browser basically. And the main element of this file here is you have the start URL, which here is set to hello world, and this is a URL that should be used as a starting point for the application when installed on the user device. The next element is a service worker, and I think that's the most complex and also most interesting element of progressive web applications. Basically, a service worker is a type of web worker. It's simply explained, it's just a JavaScript file, but that's going to run outside from the main browser thread. And it acts as a proxy as a network proxy to cache data and retrieve data from the cache. It's based on two main APIs, which are the fetch and cache APIs, and currently it's available in all modern browsers, except Internet Explorer. But it doesn't really matter because Internet Explorer is now Edge, and Edge does support Service Worker as well. So it's production ready to use Service Worker in your progressive web application. And one of the other responsibilities of the Service Worker is the ability to deliver push messages. And the last section of this definition part is how to validate that the website is a PWA. Well, this is a screenshot of Google Lighthouse plugin. So just a plugin that you install on Chrome, and you get to see whether a website is a PWA or no, thanks to the PWA badge that's quite prominent on their results here, and that validate that the website is a PWA. So some of the requirements, as we saw, is that it should be available offline, it should render relatively quickly, and there is a lot of image optimization. There's other type of optimization that are required to achieve that. Which leads to our next section is, now that we've seen what is a PWA, what are the main requirements in terms of user experience and technical requirements, we're going to review quickly if it would be relevant in the context of Magento and e-commerce, and we're going to see briefly the main frameworks currently available to build PWA website with Magento 2. So first slide is about why go headless with Magento 2. Well, there is many good things about Magento 2. Mostly it comes built in with a lot of e-commerce features such as the catalog, user management, the order management. It's relatively robust and fast to build new features on the back end. However, on the front end, it has a lot of outdated technology, including, for example, Knockout.js. And there's also some complexity, some flexibility that comes with the layout and the block system. It provides a lot of flexibility, but at the same time, at a relatively, once a project reaches a certain scale, it becomes quite slow to develop new features on the front end with Magento 2. And also, of course, in the current state of things, if you start from a Magento 2 vanilla install, it will be very difficult, if not impossible, to achieve the PWA badge and the PWA experience for your customers. So in that context, it makes sense. It will make sense to go headless with Magento 2, and why not with PWA? So there is a few frameworks currently available to build progressive web apps with Magento 2. The first one is Magento PWA Studio. So it's not actually a framework, it's more of a set of tools that's provided by Magento themselves because they recognize the need for merchants, for retailers, and for developers to be able to build websites using PWA. And they provide this set of tools that works relatively well, and that's relatively easy to set up. It's based on React component with Redux and GraphQL. So we'll see in more detail what GraphQL is and how it can help in the context of progressive web apps. The second framework is ViewStorefront. It's quite an interesting one because it's cross-platform, which means it works with Magento 1, Magento 2, or Shopify. And it could be relevant in some cases to use it as a transition when you want to migrate, let's say, a store from Magento 1 to Magento 2. We could imagine setting up a ViewStorefront to get the data, and then at some point switching to Magento to a Magento 2 store. It's also quite robust. There is a strong architecture, and it seems to be production ready. So we'll see in more details how it works very, very quickly right after. And then there is also the solution that have a bit less visibility, but I'm just mentioning here. It's Native Falcon and Front Commerce. So ViewStorefront architecture, there is very briefly here we have the front end, which is basically the client side of the application. We can see here the service worker. That's the concept that we've talked about earlier, with the cache and fetch API. And then basically in the middle, you have an adapter that's going to talk with, that's supposed to be able to talk with any e-commerce system. So here in this case, it's Magento 2, but it could be Magento 1, it could be Shopify. And then you could, so let's say you set up a ViewStorefront instance, you could easily switch your e-commerce backend with that architecture. Now, one of the main elements about ViewStorefront is that it is quite heavy in terms of infrastructure, because when you want to set up when you want to launch a ViewStorefront website, not only do you need to have a running Magento 2 instance, you also need an application for the front end and an application for the adapter, which run on like slightly different environments with slightly different settings. So for us, and that's where that leads to my to the next section, which is a case study. And this is why for us and the project we built, we didn't go for ViewStorefront. So we decided to build our own solution with the following objective. So we wanted to get like a perfect score, or at least close to perfect score on Google PageSpeed. We wanted to get the PWA badge. And we wanted to integrate with Magento for the catalog, but with another system for the content. So with Contentful, with the headless CMS for that. And in terms of technical requirements, we wanted to have a lightweight infrastructure and avoid spending time setting up all the infrastructure and also understanding the framework that's quite heavy of ViewStorefront. We also wanted to have a full ownership of the components used and the user experience we would deliver to our users. So this is what we came up with. Our project is for, so I'll show you at the very end like a demo of the current set of the project that we're working on. And basically it's an e-commerce website built with Gatsby. It's a static site generator that we used to build content websites. And it was amazing in terms of development speed and performance. So we really enjoyed working with it, and we thought, why not do PWA with Magento 2, especially since a lot of the components included by Gatsby are in common with the components suggested by Magento, PWA Studio, or used by ViewStorefront. And it's built on top of React, and we're also more comfortable using React with a more personal choice with Webpack and GraphQL. So this is a project structure. We have, so on the front end, we hosted the website on Netlify, which is a static site hosting. We have React and Redux, the front end side. Then we have the data layer that's managed by GraphQL. So the great thing about Gatsby is that it configures GraphQL in a way where we can fetch data in a consistent manner for any type of data, for any source of data. So in our case, since we're working with Magento 2 and Contentful, we will get the data from either of the system very quickly using the exact same interface. All of this process here is managed by Gatsby at build time. So this is the second element, and this is why this is a static website. That's why it's a static website generator. All of those, all this construction of the data layer here is done at build time. So, which means that when you run, in regular websites, you would usually render a page. The page would go and fetch data from the database. And of course, sometimes, or quite often, this will be cached. But there's still this process that's in place. Whereas in the case of this architecture here, all the data required, so the catalog, the content, etc., is built and generated statically at build time. It also avoids having some errors which we could not have catched when we release to production, because if the content cannot be fetched, or if there is an issue on the front end, then the build would not work. And then the last element of this architecture here, given we're hosting on Netlify and it's fully static, fully on the front end, we have no backend server. So it's kind of a serverless architecture. It's a bit counterintuitive, but because we actually have a server which is represented here by those Lambda functions. So the front end, everything related to the catalog, the content, as we saw, is at runtime. But then when there is user interactions with, for example, a registration, a login, checkout, adding a product to basket, all of this has to happen at runtime, has to happen during the user, during the use of the website. And all of this has to happen, and all of this is happening on our end from Lambda functions. And we'll see in more details how the challenges brought by this architecture. So very briefly about GraphQL, so that we mentioned earlier, that allows us to build the data layer. So it's a query language for APIs, and as mentioned earlier, basically Gatsby grabs everything at build time, and it allows us to query data in a consistent manner. This is a build workflow. So we get the content from the catalog from Magento, the content from Contentful. Everything is fetched here by Gatsby and GraphQL, and then it's all pushed to Netlify. Now the next step is the user interactions I was mentioning. It happens via this workflow. So you have the front end, and we cannot speak directly, since it's a front end application, we cannot speak directly to Magento because it will mean we need to expose the admin token, the Magento API admin token, to the front end. So we had to build our own server, and to make it as lightweight as possible, we have those Lambda functions that just process specific actions. In your case, registration, authentication, order, payment, account, etc. And it all works. So this was quite an interesting thing, an interesting element that we had to deal with, is to communicate with those Lambda function. We had to use a JWT token in conjunction with a CSRF token. So basically, when a request is sent to the Lambda function, the Lambda function returns a CSRF token, returns a JWT token that stores information about the user, whether the user is logged in or a guest, the information about the basket, and we store this, in the case of the token, in a secured cookie. In the case of the CSRF token is the local storage. CSRF token is mostly here for the purpose of security, to avoid CSRF injections. But the JWT is here to allow us to talk to the Lambda server, which abstracts for us the Magento admin token that we need to query the API. And this is how all the requests on the website are performed. I think that's it. I'm just going to show quickly the project, the current state of the project. So it's a work in progress. So it's not fully complete, but we can see here. So this is. So you can see here that I'm actually offline. So it was already loaded because I loaded it before, but I'm actually offline here, and I can actually browse the website as if it was an application, as if it was basically an application. And you can see that the page, the concept that I explained earlier, where the page loads instantly, you can see here I can switch from one page to another, and there's no reloading of the page. You just go from one page to another. And then we have all those pages in place. So I cannot show you. I cannot show you some of the processes I would have liked to show you because it needs actually a connection to register or to authenticate. But this is basically the project and where we were at, and it was very exciting. A very exciting project to build. So before I finish, I'll take the time to mention John Walker, who is here and with whom we built this project. So we needed a very strong front-end developer with lots of Magento experience and a strong passion for React to build this. So it's definitely not something we could have done otherwise. Yeah. So that's it. I think. Yeah. That's it.